Hi everyone, it's Brittany here, and today I'm going to do kind of a half tutorial. I want to show you guys why this die set here is one of my favorites. It is Avery's Alpha die by Avery, and I absolutely love this die, and I just wanted to show you guys why I love it so much. And you can basically make your own thickers with it, which I think is so awesome and fun, and you can have totally unique letters to your project. So I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways that you can achieve your own thickers, and yeah, just all these different techniques, and give you guys some ideas for different ones. So my first one is probably the most obvious, and for all of these examples I did cut out either thanks or happy, just because I do a lot of thank yous and happy birthday. So the first one here is just using pattern paper, which is pretty obvious. It's fun and simple. And one of the best things is that you can use all your scraps up. Oops. Which is so awesome, because when we make cards, generally I know I have a bunch of scraps, and this way I get to use them. And it's also good for those pattern papers that you're not using. So that's my first one, and I think those are super cute, and that way you could have them either match whatever you're doing. So I think that's fun. And another tip I'm going to tell you guys before I get into the rest of them, if you guys want them thicker, you could obviously cut out a couple of each letter and layer them up, which is really kind of popular right now. You could do that. For me, I don't mind so much, just because when I put them down, I don't mind if there's not a lot of dimension. If that's what I'm going for, then of course I will add a couple layers. But I think that's a good way to do that. You could also clear emboss over these, or you could do glossy accents or something else like that. So that's my first example, which is pattern paper. And like I said, that's probably one of the most obvious. And another thing I did want to state is that there is some stamps that coordinate with this die set. I'm hoping to order them on my next Avery order. I have just not yet, but I will be getting them in. So the next one is washi tape. Now when I cut my paper for my Avery envelopes, I always have an 1.5 to 2 inch strip piece of paper here, and I don't like to throw stuff away, so this is a great way to use that by just covering that paper, which is kind of thin because I don't use heavyweight cardstock for that. Just cover them up with some washi tape, and that will make them a little more sturdy, and it will also make them match your project. So this is my second example. And here I just used 2 different washi tapes just to show you guys. And I think this is so fun. It's just awesome. And it's another way to use your washi tape, because I know I don't get enough use out of my washi tape. So for this one is wide enough that I could just use 1 strip. And you can see those triangles on there really well. And for this one, since it's a thinner strip, I just did 2 strips right next to each other, and I think it gave it a really awesome look. So that is my second example. And my next example is stickles. Now, this is super fun because you can have your own glitter alphabet, which is so fun. And then if you have more than one tint of stickles, you can do a green tinted one, and then a blue tinted one, and white, or whatever, which is fun because you could have them all be the same color. This is blue cardstock, and then I just covered it with this blue stickles, which is so fun. I love this. And the shine you get from that is just super awesome. So there is that one. And then my next one is watercolor. Now, it does cut through watercolor paper, and I love this. I just took 3 blues onto some watercolor paper and gave it a quick spritz just to kind of get those to blend. And now we've got kind of this ombre effect, and I just think it's so cute. And this way, you can have something that matches your project. You could do this with Crayolas, you could do it with whatever you have. That's another cool thing about this die set, is once you have the die, you can use what you have and make it something else that's totally different. So there's that one, and hopefully those blues are showing up well. I just think that is so awesome. It looks like water, and I'll show you a close-up just so you guys can see that. So super fun. And then for my next one is fiber. This is the fiber cardstock by DCWV. And I'm pretty sure that I had shown this on a card before, but I had a scrap, so I figured I would use it. And hopefully this texture shows up pretty well on camera. I think it's so fun, and it just gives it an extra different look. And it's just awesome. And you'll never run out of letters, which is so cool. So there's that one. And then this is one of my not so favorite ones, but I know that there's people out there, and I love the look when other people do it, which is sketch. So I just roughly went around these letters and gave them a quick little outline, which I think is still cool. It's just not, I'm just not as good as I'd like to be. But I thought that that was cute, you know, if that was the look you're going for. You could also just draw in some lines or whatever you wanted. Some polka dots, whatever. So there's that one. And then here's this one, and this is stamping. And I'm saving my favorites for last, so I'll show you guys those. Again, I just took this blue cardstock, and I took a polka dot stamp set, and I just stamped on top of it with a dark gray. So now I have polka dot letters, which I think is so fun, and you could do this with any of your background stamps. You could take single stamps that you're not getting use out of, like tiny hearts or zigzags, whatever it may be. So that's another fun one. You could also do script. There's just so many different possibilities. And this one here is one of my absolute favorites. And all three of my next ones are going to be about embossing. So this one I embossed with a gear embossing folder onto black cardstock. And then I took some Inca Gold and rubbed it over the top. And I absolutely love the look that that gives. It's so steampunk-like and just so fun. And I've never seen stickles or thickers like this before, which is just so cool. And of course, again, you can use whatever colors you have. You can do anything you want. Another idea is just to take, you know, a plain color or pattern paper and use a wink of Stella or a glitter spray or something like that on top. For the next one, I just did plain embossing, with a folder, not heat embossing. So I just used the polka dot one. And for this one, I did a little bit of coloring just to show you that you can color it slightly. You could leave it plain. It just adds a little bit more dimension and texture, which is fun. So there's that one. And then for the last one, I did actual heat embossing. And this one is super fun. I used a blue embossing powder. It's like a navy blue. And it makes it thicker because you have that embossing enamel on there. And it's nice and glossy and super fun. So there's that one. And hopefully you guys can see all that shine. I love that. And another thing is that if you only have or don't want to invest a bunch, you could just take an ink, whatever kind of ink that you have, and lay that on here, or color paper, and then take just a clear embossing powder and a heat emboss over that. And then it'll look like you have red letters or whatever color you use, which is super fun. You could also take some of the sticky embossing powder and do some flocking on it or glitter. There's just so many different things you could do, and I love it. You could take some packaging and cut some packaging. I was actually going to do that, but I just emptied my trash, and I don't have any of my scrap packaging in here, so, but you could do that. You could do old magazine pages. There's just so much fun stuff that you could do, and I believe you could even cut through, like, the thin foam sheets. I bought some. I'll grab them real quick. I bought some of these actually at the dollar store, and there was 10 sheets in here, and they're 8 by 12 inch foam sheets, and these ones are super thin because they were from the dollar store, but the dies will cut through this, and then you would have your own foam letters, which I think is just so fun. And this one came with a bunch of different colors. So that's just some ideas I wanted to share with you guys. you guys could go over them with nail polish. There's so many different things, and it's just a cheap way to get started with letters, and instead of buying thickers, of course. But thank you all so much for watching, and I hope that this helped you guys learn a couple new techniques, and I hope you guys have a great day.